for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, we are honored for our Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Miss Ashley Flynn. She is the owner of Take Two Retail Store. Thank you, Ashley.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please, if you will stay there. And I do also want to announce that tonight we have the privilege of Scout America, Troop 181. They are joining us in the back of the room. They have to do this for an award. So this will be an exciting meeting for them because we have a levy to pass. We have awards that we are going to be listening to from a business owner, a small business owner in town. So this is a very, very good meeting for you to attend. First of all, Ashley, I want to say thank you very much for coming tonight. But, you know, you won the Choice Award, and is this through the Journal Star?
Yep.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay.
But I also want to present you with the city coin.
Okay, thank
So we are so proud of small businesses being in town. You are helping downtown grow so much. But tell us a little bit about your award and your business.
Okay. Well, those that don't know me, I'm Ashley Flynn. I was born and raised in Pekin. I graduated Pekin High School in 2006. I was a nurse for 15 years. About 2 years ago, I quit nursing because I felt like I needed a call to my community. I didn't know what that looked like at the time, but my parents approached me like, we always knew you want to open a small business, as they own several businesses in town throughout the years of me growing up. So it's just kind of my calling. They knew that they loved downtown. I love downtown. I love seeing Pekin grow. So we purchased the building downtown. They did. And we highly appreciate the TIF money we received to help build this building that we just finished like last month. Took 2 years. So now we have 2 new businesses, mine, Take Two Resale Boutique, and so Stitch just moved in, where she does alterations and sewing classes. My business is more or less like a clothing consignment shop. We do a little bit of our own sourcing. Last month, I took on about 20,000 pieces of clothing. So if anybody comes to you and be like, are they buying clothes yet? Not yet. I buy out boutiques. We have a full-time consignor, and I work with Destiny's Women's Center in Peoria. We receive clothes that way, and then I make donations in that source. We also have Totes for Tatas in our shop, and we've raised, since I've opened last October, we've raised over $12,000 for Totes for Tatas. So any purse in the shop with a pink ribbon goes, 100% of those proceeds go to Illinois Cancer Care. But Dave Nutter and Mary Burris asked me to come speak about an award I recently won. We've literally been open a year and a couple months, and we beat out several companies small businesses that have been in business for 20-some years. I won the Community Choice Award through the Journal Star of 2025 for Consignment Shop of the Year. We had it at the Embassy Suites, and it was like a whole thing, and we had a dinner, and it was really nice. We were nominated in the paper. I really didn't know getting into a small business like that you win awards, so I didn't do this just for me. We were nominated in June, found out in July. People voted us, so we won by the voters. But I just think it's great for not only my business, but the city as well. Also, I want to give a shout out for all the big businesses coming to town, because the first week that Marshall's was open, we had people come from Washington because they came to Marshall's, but then they Googled what else was in the city, and they found my shop. So it's working. You know, Peoria has a Marshall's, but we get people from, you know, the small businesses, the unique small businesses in the area are pulling people from Dunlap, Peoria, Decatur, all over. So, but yeah, and then I just wanted to give a little heads up. We're doing our ribbon cutting finally, because life's been a little hectic. We're closing for a little bit in January to revamp the store. And then January 16th at 10 a.m., we're finally doing our ribbon cutting. So, yeah, so we appreciate everyone's love and support. We are very thankful for everything the city has done for us, and we can't say enough nice things.
Thank you, Ashley. So now you renovated an old building, and did you have TIF money?
Yep.
So this is a perfect example of what TIF can do for our city. So we thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And your parents.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Also tonight, the Scouts will hear a presentation of our pension investment fund for the police. So this is another exciting thing for you young Scouts to hear. They've got a busy night tonight, don't they? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Okay, good evening. Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Fletcher.
Here.
Councilmember Nutter.
Here.
Councilmember Hilst.
Here.
Councilmember Abel.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoheimer.
Here.
And Mayor Burris.
Here. Having a quorum, we will conduct business. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Ms. Phillips. Any questions, comments, or concerns of the agenda? See- Madam Clerk, we have one lady that does not have the agenda. Do you have an extra one on you?
I have an extra one.
Here we go, sorry. Thank you. All right, are you good to, no questions? Council, take your vote, please. I'm not getting a signal back there, so Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Phillips.
Aye.
Councilmember Abel.
Aye.
Councilmember Nutter.
Aye.
Councilmember Fletcher.
Aye.
Councilmember Hilst.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoheimer.
Aye.
And Mayor Burris.
Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the minutes be approved of City Council regular meeting minutes, November 24th, 2025, and City Council special meeting minutes, Q&A with Council Members Nutter and Fletcher on November 5th, 2025 be approved.
Second.
Motion made again by Mr. Nutter and second by Mr. Abel. Any questions, comments, or concerns of these minutes? Seeing none, let's try to take our vote again on the machine. Council, take their vote, please. Madam Clerk, call the roll again, please.
Okay.
We are
Councilmember.
having a little difficulty with our machine, so I
There we go.
Here we go. We are now able to vote. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. We have now come down to item 5, which is public input. Anybody wishing to have their voice heard, please come to the podium. Make sure the mic is on. State your name, and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is David Horton. I am here representing Groveland Township. I am the township supervisor.
Welcome.
And thank you very much. We wanted to come to the meeting here to discuss a letter that we received in the mail, certified mail, discussing a annexation of property within Groveland Township. And I received mine on Tuesday, which is less than a week. We haven't had a chance as a board with the township to get together to discuss. I've gotten lots of phone calls and lots of questions because not only our trustees receive it, our road commissioner, our assessor, et cetera, as well as the Central Groveland Fire District, which also is part of Groveland Township. So we've got a lot of questions on the annexation that was discussed would be approved. We'd like to basically ask questions about due diligence, transparency, really ideally request a meeting be held with Groveland Township, with the fire districts. We could do that all together at once, but I'm requesting a meeting to really ask the questions that I've been asked. We've got a lot of calls. I can say personally, I've gotten a lot of calls asking questions that I don't know the answers to. I'd rather give facts out than basically the hearsay. I know there's a lot of questions on the data center, the roadway extension, et cetera. Just want to get the facts straight as opposed to give any of our constituents information that is hearsay. So that's the first thing I'd like to do is request that we have a coordination meeting. And secondly would be to ask to defer the annexation until we can get some questions answered and understand what that impacts and overall impacts to Groveland Township are. And as well as I think our township, our fire boards, even the citizens of Pekin, et cetera. You know, I think there's a lot of unanswered questions when I've reached out to folks that I know to find out a little more about the project. Again, I'm operating on hearsay and I'd rather operate on fact. So really that's the presentation. I wanted to come up here and request of the council tonight, and I appreciate you letting me speak on this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is John McNish.
Welcome.
Got a couple of slips of paper I want to read about. Back in April 2025, council approved an increase for the city manager's salary. Also in April, during this special meeting, there was a discussion about merit-based pay increases. Is there any movement on that merit-based pay increase topic that was discussed then? Or is that just a fancy talk at that time? The reason I ask is because several times this year, staff has asked council for spot increases throughout the year. So I know how many times has been asked, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm sure you guys all know. Also, coming up on the end of the year means goals and completions. Has council looked at the set goals for the city manager and where they are at for completion? I don't recall there was a meeting establishing goals. Also in April was that special meeting, in case you guys were wondering. During the conversation concerning the utility tax, it was mentioned that that money could be used for ADA sidewalks. And at the last meeting, it was mentioned those funds were to be used for pensions. Has any of that money been used for either ADA sidewalks or pensions? If so, can somebody please give me the amount, how much for each project there? And also how much of that money is set aside for the upcoming spring and ADA sidewalks? As for tonight's levy increase of 4.9%, I just have a question of why is it always 4.9%? Why isn't it ever like a 5.5 or a 6? Because we all know we're pretty far in debt and it probably should be a 5 or 6 or 7. But why is it always just a 4.9? We always talk about kicking that can down the road. But I think I know the answer to that. The answer to that is If it's anything more than 4.9, y'all have to involve the public, right? Let's just say what it is. Are you afraid of the public? I mean, they voted you all in, so they would understand. Okay, lastly, at the last council meeting, a council member was concerned that citizens FOID pension records, which is public. I would like to ask all the council members and the mayor, are either of you on any type of federal, state, city, or county pension board? Thank you for your time, and also, second Saturday of December, the Wreaths of America is gonna be coming to town. They'll be dropping wreaths at the Veterans Cemetery out there, and that should be about 11 a.m., second Saturday of the month.
I
And
attend that.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. Anyone else from the public?
My name's Elaine Ritchie. You know, I had 2 weeks to think about this from the last meeting. I am a retiree from the city. I draw a pension from the city. And, you know, personally, I don't care if the public knows how much I draw. It's their tax money also. I don't know what the big issue was. It used to be published in the paper when we all worked. Our raises, our everything. I don't know, the public has a right to know what we get paid on a pension. So if there was emails, I don't care. I don't care if my name is published of what I make per month on my pension. And neither one of you should that's on a pension. We work for it. We earned it. It's ours. You know, just like you, Mayor, and you, Karen, you're drawing off of your husbands. They work for it. So what does it make a difference? You are entitled to it. It doesn't. And that's what I'm trying to say. It all used to be published. It's the citizens that sit back here and they listen to how much we make as city employees and what we're worth. Each and every one of us, I know Pekin Times used to publish it every year in the paper. 5,000, you was put in that category. Your name was in that paper. If any of you can remember from the old school. I don't know if they do it anymore because I don't get the Pekin Times. But you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
Oh, I'm not.
No, nobody should be. And it really upset me to see that it became an issue when it shouldn't become an issue. So big deal. That's how I look at it. I mean, they could put my name out there. I don't care.
They did.
Well, and they can. I don't care. You know, I'm proud of what I worked. I worked hard for it, and I deserve it. Okay, you all have a nice Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Anyone else from the public? Seeing none, public input is now closed. Chair would now entertain a motion for the consent agenda, item 6.
Yes, I get the privilege of reading all these tonight.
Oh, boy.
Madam Mayor, I move that the following consent agenda items be approved. Accounts payable paid proof list through November 26, 2025. 6.2, receive and file fiscal year 2025-26 budget transfers through December 1st of 2025. 6.3, receive and file building department permit report for November 2025. 6.4, Pekin Fire Department monthly incident report, November 2025. 6.5, 2026 schedule of council meetings. 6.6, receive and file council notice of foreclosure on 215 Hamilton Street. 6.7 is receive and file council notice of foreclosure on 219 Hamilton Street. 6.8, receive and file memorandum outlining purchase of salt for the street department. 6.9, ordinance number 4365-25/26, approving a second amendment to the agreement for purchase and sale of real property with JPG Commercial Real Estate LLC to extend the due diligence period.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Do I have a
Second.
s- oh, okay. Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Mr. Hilst. Any questions, comments, or concerns of the consent agenda? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Let's try our machines again. There we go.
I don't have it. Or did.
Motion passes 7-0. We have now come down to item 7, which is a presentation by Mr. Rich White of the Illinois Police Officers Investment Fund regarding our pension update. I am so honored that you are joining us tonight, and I can't wait to hear just how well this fund is doing. So thank you for your time.
Mayor Burris and members of the council, good evening. Thank you for the invitation to share a little bit about what the Police Officers Investment Fund is doing on your behalf, as well as on behalf of the active members and retirees in the Article 3 police pension funds. As Mayor mentioned, my name is Richard White. A brief, very brief introduction for me. I am the Executive Director of the Police Officers Pension Investment Fund. I was hired in June of 2020 in that position. Prior to that, I was a retirement administrator for a small county system in California, but before that, which was in retirement, I was a law enforcement officer for 34 years as a sworn officer, and also spent 40 years in the criminal justice system total. So 34 years sworn and then 6 non-sworn in law enforcement. And I also spent a very brief period of time as a volunteer firefighter. So it'll tell you which paths I told. I didn't like what they did. I respect them a lot, what the firefighters do, but I went into law enforcement rather than firefighting for a lot of reasons. But I have a lot of admiration for what they do.
Yeah.
So, again, thank you for the invitation. The purpose of the consolidation in Public Act 101-0619 was signed by Governor Pritzker, and I provided you a copy of the handouts and the slides for your reference as we go through this. I won't cover everything in the interest of time, but let's go to some of these high points. The fund became effective in January of 2020, so we haven't been around all that long. The consolidation of assets in the Police Pension Investment Fund is for the exclusive purpose of providing and investing the assets of the Article 3 funds. Again, the Article 4 funds, the fire funds, there's a corresponding fire investment fund. There's a lot of parallels between the police fund and the fire fund. I'll be specific to the police fund, but again, there are some parallels that you can draw from the fire fund. The consolidation had a couple of goals. One was to access investment strategies that were unavailable to the Article 3 funds, to access best-in-breed investment managers, and to access competitive pricing for those investment managers. The statute gave us some authority and responsibilities in the consolidation. Number one, importantly, the Board of Trustees must act as fiduciaries in the best interest of their members and retirees. They must act, again, solely in their interest. They must have put in place a governance system of oversight, accountability, and transparency. And we must ensure that the financial condition of one participating police pension fund does not impact the financial condition of another. Police Pension Fund. One of the challenges of consolidation 5 years ago was concern, were some of the pension funds going to subsidize and support some of the Article 3 pension funds, and that's not the case. The assets that you as Pekin Police Pension Fund own, you as a municipality own, are still your assets for the exclusive purposes of providing benefits to the Pekin Police Pension Fund. And we must take all reasonable steps to ensure that all transfer of funds were treated equally. It took us a number of years to get over. There are 357 Article 3 funds. It took a number of years. I'll show you a chart on that. But we must ensure that everybody was treated equitably, and we have done that. The board is governed by statute with a board of trustees, a 9-member board of trustees. 8 of the 9 members are elected from the various constituencies. We have 3 active law enforcement members elected by the 12,000 active law enforcement members in the Article 3 pension fund. Scott Bowers is a detective in Peoria. Lee Kataviu is a sergeant in Aurora. And Paul Swanlin is a detective in Bloomington. We also have 2 members that are elected from the retiree or the beneficiary members. There's approximately 12,000 of those members around the state of Illinois. Dan Hopkins is a retired lieutenant from Collinsville, and Mark Poulos is also a retired lieutenant from Rock Island. We have 3 members on our fund which are from the municipalities. They're either executive directors, chief investment officers, mayors, or similar executive level staff in the municipalities of the Article 3 funds. At the present time, Mike Inman, who's the mayor of Macomb, he's also a retired state trooper. He's on our board. Deborah Naraki is the chief financial officer from the city of Elgin. And Phil Cease is the mayor of the city of Wheaton. And we have 1 member that's appointed upon appointment by the governor and confirmed by the Senate, and that's a representative from the Illinois Municipal League. Today, that spot is vacant. One of the differences between our board and the fire board is the composition of the board of trustees. There are 9 members, but the composition is slightly different. Our board went through a strategic planning process a couple of years ago. These are our vision, mission, and core values for our fund and what we operate under and how we operate every day. It drives what we do. Our vision is to be a high-performing and trusted provider of institutional investment services to our members, our beneficiaries, employers, and our taxpayers. Our mission is to build and maintain our long-term stability of the investment fund to ensure our partners are able to meet their financial obligations and fund pension benefits for the participants and beneficiaries. And our core values are accountability, stewardship, excellence, trust, and respect. These are our strategic goals. The important one, one of the important ones, or probably the important one that I'll go through, is our investment goal, which is to generate net returns that exceed the assumed actuarial rate of return. The objectives for our investment program come out of a couple ways. One is the scale of the trust fund. The scale of the trust fund allows for pooling of assets, which allows for reduced costs through better negotiating power to drive lower management fees, lower management costs and performance fees. The scope of the trust fund is to remove barriers and expand investment and diversification opportunities. The benefits realized by larger plans are now available to smaller plans. One of the conversations during the consolidation process was, why didn't the legislature just remove the barriers that the local Article 3 funds had so that the funds could go and invest in different strategies? That's a very interesting conversation. I don't have the answer to that conversation, but one thing to keep in mind is even if the investment strategy or the restrictions were removed, you're still the same size pension fund. So could you necessarily invest in the same across-the-board strategies that we, as a consolidated fund, are enabled to do based upon our size? The efficiency, one of our objectives is to ensure that the assets of the fund are invested in a manner that minimizes and controls the cost incurred in administering and managing the funds. And again, our fiduciary responsibility is to ensure that the assets are invested with the care, the skill, the prudence, and the diligence that a prudent person would take acting in a similar capacity. That's the prudent person rule. This is the growth of the consolidated fund over the 5 years that we've been in existence. You can see in the green bars on the left side, this chart starts in March of 2022, and it goes through the end of the third quarter in 25, which is September of 25. And you can see those green bars on the left-hand side of the chart. You can barely see the one that's representative all the way to the left in March. That's when we started to do the consolidation, when assets started to be transferred from the Article 3 funds over. You can see a couple large bars there, green bars. We got a lot of the assets in June, July, August area of 2022. And then most of that worked its way through, and then you can see one green bar to the right, which was in the fourth quarter of 2024, which actually was October of 2024. That green bar represents $1.6 billion. Those were the 16 funds. If you recall, there was a lawsuit that was filed by a number of the funds challenging the constitutionality of the statute, the consolidation statute. That lawsuit went through all the way to the Illinois Supreme Court. It was decided a year ago, actually January, February of 24, and that consolidation took place of those funds that were mainly the litigant funds, came into the fund in October of last year. So when you look at that, there's a green line on your right-hand side. There's a line chart. It says $10.6 billion. That represents the amount of assets that came in from all of the 357 Article 3 funds. So that's kind of the baseline that we're talking about of what the consolidation was. The line above that, which says 14.5, that's 14.5 billion. That represents the investment trust fund amount at the end of the third quarter of this year in September. That difference between the 10.6 that came in and that 14.5 is where that red arrow is pointing. That's $3.9 billion. That's the growth of those assets over the period of time that they've been invested. A very short period of time, but that's the growth. And I'll show you the performance numbers in a minute about what that represents. That's what's happening now with this fund and the growth that's going on. The principles that we invest in, the asset investment principles, again, they're the primary driver of investment returns. We have an investment policy statement that the board has approved that drives basically the roadmap for how we're investing. We use capital market assumptions and mean variance optimization to estimate investment return and volatility for different asset classes. We establish target weights around each investment class, and then we periodically rebalance to ensure that those investments are within those target ranges. And then we also have adopted a short-term and long-term investment asset target. I'll talk about that in a little bit as we ramped up. In fact, on this slide. Hard to read, I apologize for that. There's a lot of good information available on our website. But this is our asset allocation. This chart was from a couple of months ago. But what I want to point out on here is our short-term allocation and our long-term allocation. When we started back in 2022, up until a couple of months ago, we were all in passive investments. We got very good pricing for that. We were paying 1 to 3 to 5 basis points for that passive investing. It was very good, and it did a very good job for us. Now, as the board, as our assets now $10.6 billion under management, the board is starting to transition to a long-term asset allocation, which is incorporating active management active investment management into the program. We now have 13 active managers. The board started in January of '24, hiring investment managers. The board has a meeting this week. They're going to hire more managers in the high yield space. Again, we're transitioning that portfolio from short-term into our long-term asset allocation. One of the things that I would point out on here is even with that growth of assets I mentioned before, we are underweight to equities. The board has made a very conscious decision to stay a little bit under what the average is in equities. We are about 56% in our short-term equity allocation, and our long-term allocation is about 65% in equities. When you look at a couple of charts, I'll show you the next chart, I wanted to keep it in mind because some of the benchmarks are based upon 70% equities, and we don't have 70% equities. It's also a challenge when you are comparing us, you compare us to the Fire Fund. It's a natural comparison to look at, as well as looking at other investment funds as well, is make sure that one pays attention to the asset allocation to see it, to when you're comparing what the performance is, because they don't always line up side by side. So I did want to point that out. One of the other things, again, in the interest of time, on our website, we have our quarterly investment reports that are up, where we get a new quarter report this Friday. Those are on the website to review. And we also have monthly snapshot reports on our website as well, so you can see what we're doing on a monthly basis. These are our performance numbers. If you're interested, and again, this chart, a little hard to read. The green's a little washed out, I apologize, but green is a good number, so I wanted to put green on there even though it's a little washed out. So our calendar year portfolio, these are through October, January through October. Our calendar year performance for 2025 is 16%. By the way, November is going to add a little less than 1% to this, so you can add a little bit to it. But again, our calendar year performance, 16% in our portfolio. Our policy benchmark, which is that second line, that represents what all the benchmarks on our asset class would be earning, and that policy benchmark is 15.4. So you can see that we beat our policy benchmark, and that's a testimony to the implementation of our team getting the money put to work and what our managers are doing and putting the money to work. And then the broad policy benchmark, that third number on the left column, is 16.8, and that's where I mentioned that the broad benchmark is 70% stocks, 30% fixed income, and that 16.8 is more obviously than 16%. That represents that difference in the fact that we're not at 70% equities. We're a little behind, but it's still, again, when you look at the policy benchmark, we're doing pretty good. Our fiscal year 2025 numbers, we're on a fiscal June 30 fiscal year. Our fiscal year 25 numbers, so for the one fiscal year, 13.1% earnings. Our one-year number year over year as of October is 16.2. Our three-year number is 14.5, and if you remember, that's pretty good considering what happened in 2022, which was a lot of red numbers there. So that's a three-year number from there. And then a number that's interesting to look at as we get more assets under management and start doing it is that since inception number all the way to the right. And that since inception number from April of 2022 is 8%. I mentioned that our goal is our actuarial assumed rate of return. Our assumed rate of return is 6.8%. So in earning 8%, that's good news. That benefits everybody, especially the municipalities, when you start doing your actuarial work and you start doing, you're looking for, the income that you're getting off of that. Again, that beats our policy benchmark, and it's pretty close to the broad benchmark of 8.1, which is pretty interesting. So the bottom line on this is our investment portfolio has performed better than its median peer group since inception, and we are ranked in the 13th percentile in a representative universe of public pension funds with assets greater than $1 billion. A couple more slides, just very quickly. One of the things that we were charged with, I mentioned earlier on, investment management fees, doing things cheaper, or as efficiently as possible. This is from 2024. This is on the left side of the assets under management and the right side, the management fees. Again, this number it's older, but it also represents a smaller amount of investments that are under active management. Our investment management fees in 2024 represented 3.8 basis points, which again, I think is a very good metric. In 2025, fiscal year 2025, our investment fees represented 7.88 basis points. That's of about $10 million in investment management fees, with over $13 billion in assets. That's, I think, a very competitive price. One of the things that's going to happen over time as we start to roll out active management and started getting into markets which are investment strategies that are more expensive, for example, in the private markets. In January, the board's going to hire a private equity manager. Private market investing is more expensive, so our investment management fees are going to increase. But again, you should be getting that trade-off of getting higher returns for those costs. But again, in fiscal year 2025 that just ended in June, our fees represented 7.88 basis points for investment management fees. Our budget, I'll have a slide on that in a minute, our budget for fiscal year 2025, which is non-investment management, everything else, our administrative costs, our investment costs, our salaries, and things like that. Our budget was about $3.6 million. It represented 2.65 basis points in costs. And as I mentioned, in fiscal year 2026, we expect the investment management fees to go up a little over 11 to close to 12 basis points, again, as we start to roll out active management. I'll just go through, this is our investment team. When I started in June of 2020, I was employee number one and only for about a year. We now have 11 full-time staff in our office, both on the investment side and the administrative side. When we started, we didn't have anything to start with. We built everything from scratch. The organization we have now started and is built in all of our policies and everything else. We started from scratch. Very proud of our organization and what we're doing. We are located in Peoria, and our administrative staff are all local residents. In fact, one of my first employees, I think Sean was employee number 3, was retired Pekin police officer, came over and worked with us in 2021 for a couple of years before he started to move out of the area. This is briefly our budget. Again, this just represents our 25 budget. The numbers are a little different since we just did our audit. But again, about 2.65 basis points. But what I wanted to mention on here was not only expenses, but the Article 3 funds, in their reports to the Department of Insurance, represented that they paid 57 basis points in administrative fees over time, and we're operating at 2.65 to 3% basis points. That's a significant savings, which is going back into the municipalities, be able to pay benefits and things like that. So I think we're doing what we're asked to do. This is our 26-year budget. Again, it was approved by the board, about $5.6 million for the next fiscal year. And I just wanted to highlight this, our annual comprehensive financial report. This is the cover of the report from last fiscal year. Our current fiscal year report, 2025 fiscal year report, will be approved by the Board of Trustees at our Friday meeting and will be released shortly thereafter. This is the 24 report. And I will note that for the second year in a row, we received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the Government Financial Officers Association. We've got that 2 years in a row. We'll be applying for the third one in a row. So
Very good.
with that, a lot more, but I'll stop and happy to answer any questions that the mayor, the council, or anyone, any of the executives may have. Happy to do that. And again, thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I'm going to open it up to council. Does council have any questions for him? I think you can see that this fund has done very, very well, and you've really done your due diligence to make sure that it earns the most interest possible and make it grow. Anyone have any questions? How about staff, Mr. Dossi?
I don't. I was aware of it beforehand. I don't know if the chief does or anybody else. I think we're pretty up on
Chief
it.
Randy, you're good? Well, we do thank you. Any other from council? We do thank you so much. We appreciate it, and I think this gives us a good, clear picture that you are managing the money well.
We appreciate the invitation, always happy to come and have a conversation, and we're very accessible. Again, there's a lot of information on the website that you can partake on your own. We do the same as you do. Our meetings are streamed. We put up our agenda and our materials 2 days before the meeting, and so we're very open, accessible, and transparent for what we're doing. And again, we're doing things to benefit the municipalities, but obviously in the interests of the active members and the beneficiaries of the Article 3 funds.
That's great to hear.
Appreciate your invitation to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
We thank you so much, especially this busy time of year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck with the rest of your meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. What a great presentation. We have now come down to unfinished business. Chair would entertain a motion for 8.1, please.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4364-2526, making, levying, and assessing municipal taxes in the city of Pekin, Tazewell, and Peoria counties, Illinois, for the fiscal year from May 1, 2025 to April 30, 2026, and known as the annual levy ordinance.
Second. Motion made by Ms. Phillips and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dossi, I'm going to turn this over to you now.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to read through this whole thing, but I think you have it. There have been some minor changes. I think I'm just going to have Eric go ahead and present what the changes were in this.
Sure.
And, you know, basically, staff is recommending the 4.9% increase.
So this was tabled from last month, last month. So, Mr. Dabrowski.
Yes, the only change to the narrative was some information related to the home values, because there's some discussion beyond the median home value of 135. So we added a couple other figures of 270 and 405. To follow up on the discussion from last time around, the recommendation from staff still remains at the 4.9%, and that's for the city portion and the library portion of the operations. Library debt, as per the schedule that we have when the bonds were floated. The overall amounts as recommended appear in the ordinance. The amount levied for the general corporate fund would be $5.3 million. Peoria Public Library operations, 1.4. The Peoria bond, $405,000, with a total of $7.1 billion overall. At your places tonight, again, we have various summaries of scenarios, including one addition, which was a 3.0 percentage increase on the city portion. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions and open to any discussion.
It's open to council. Council have any questions? Mr. Fletcher.
So I appreciate everybody putting this off for a couple weeks, because I did come and meet with staff again. And so I've heard some council members would like to see 0, and I've heard others at 3. And I'm open to any of that, but I would like to know how we'll pay the bills at 0. So if anybody has any input on that, because when I did ask staff, they could not provide me with those answers. And when I ran for this seat and I went to all of the question and answer and meet the candidate nights, the number one question that was asked of me and all the other candidates was, what are you going to do about the pension debt? It's the number one problem listed for the city of Pekin. And I feel if we do not go at least 4%, that we're just kicking the can back down the road, and I'm not in favor of that at all. we cannot address the problem if we can't pay this levy or pay this bill that's due every year. And I know that you've funded it 100% or close the last couple years. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I don't see any reason why we should deviate from that. I know that whatever the percentages that we end up passing, there's gonna be, the rest is gonna be taken out of the general fund.
That is correct.
And, you know, I know we're picking up businesses and so forth, which is great for the city, but we're not gonna realize a lot of the sales tax and that type of thing for a while yet. So I guess I'll just start the conversation off by saying that I would like to see it at 4%. I'm open at 4.9, but I'm not willing to kick the can down the road on the pension.
So, Mr. Fletcher, are you suggesting that we amend it to 4%?
That's my recommendation.
So do I have a second for 4%?
Second.
Okay. Any other further discussion then?
My personal feelings was to leave it at 4.9.
Then you can
Same here.
go right ahead.
You want to
Okay, now we
withdraw
have-
yours, or you want to withdraw?
Well, you're
or
going to
do
have
you
to
want-
withdraw if we
yeah.
want to leave it at 4.9.
I would like a vote on 4.0.
You'd like to vote on 4.0? Okay.
You
I
want to
have
vote
a-
on the amendment to change it to
Correct.
4.0. So you,
Correct.
your statement was a motion, it was
And I
seconded
had a
by
second,
Councilmember Nutter, which was recognized by the mayor. And so it's pending before here as a motion with a friendly amendment, but an amendment none the same, to change that to from 4.9 to reduce it to a 4.0 increase, 104% versus 109%. That's correct?
Correct, sir.
Councilmember, and that was your second?
It was seconded by Mr. Nutter, yes.
One item for clarifications, there's the city portion and the library portion. Is that inclusive of both, one or the other?
Both.
Both.
So do we understand it's 4% for the library as well? Do
And
we
they asked
understand
for
that?
4.9?
They asked for 4.9, correct?
That is correct.
I'm not sure on the proper questions on the format of discussing the amendment versus discussing the original. So, Mr. Vasselli, please correct me if I start to,
Go down the wrong path.
yes, thank you. Call me back over to the right herd. I am absolutely willing to vote for anything between 4 and 4.9% based on, what I've heard right here tonight. Is there a consensus among us that that range is reasonable?
From the 4 to 4, to just stay at 4.9, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And I,
Karen said that she's happy with 4.9, John's happy with 4.9. Mr. Hilst, we haven't heard from you.
My opinion's the same as it was at the last meeting. I'm still at 0.
Okay.
And to answer Jake's question, I don't know what we currently sit at on those utility taxes, but they estimated those were going to generate roughly $4 million a year. So that's where we could get that money from.
At 0, we would be set, we need to find what, 7 million? Or 4 million? We still have to
Well,
have
we're
money.
getting all of our real estate property taxes going towards that.
Right,
And
all of the
gaming
real estate
fees and
taxes will
cannabis
be
taxes.
100% towards the pension.
That is correct. That was set a few years back. It was, were you wanting to say something,
just
Mr.?
roughly, just for context for council, that 0.9% is roughly $50,000, just so everybody knows
Okay.
where that's at. 1% is roughly the $50,000.
So, I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything. Yes, Mr. Nutter?
And I've said this before, it doesn't matter if it's 0, doesn't matter if it's 4.9. Staff has got a lot of work to do regardless of what it is, because we're still in a tight situation, no matter which way it goes. I don't want to kick the can down the road either, because we've been there before, we saw the results of it, and we're still trying to catch up. I support the 4, but there's going to be a lot of hard work ahead of all of us to get what we need in that general fund, so.
So right now, there's a motion on the floor to amend,
Correct.
and that was seconded. So if we vote right now to say, yes, we want to amend it to 4%, and then we vote on whether we
Again.
want the 4.9.
No, then
Or then we would vote on the yes or no on the 4%.
This back to 4.9.
Sorry, I misspoke.
Be motion, could be
Correct.
Sir amended, it could be changed again.
Correct.
So, Dave, I agree with you. I told the mayor before that I didn't think we should go less than 3. I love that we're talking about not less than 4. If we have, Dave, if you'll do 4.9, I'll vote no on the 4 to go 4.9. Or if you want to stick with the 4, I'll vote yes for your amendment.
I'm going to stick with the 4. I mean, what'd you say, John? It was 50,000?
50,000.
Okay, thank you.
Karen, or Ms. Hoheimer, I am so sorry.
I agree with Councilmember Fletcher. I feel like it's kicking the can down the road. We need to keep the momentum up. We're just going to end up having to take that money from somewhere else. We need to, none of us like it, but we got to do it.
Mr. Abel?
Well, I've been on 4.9 since we started this discussion, and hearing it's $50,000 from 4 to 4.9. That's even more of a sales pitch for me to do it. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars, but either way, we're kicking the can down the road at 4.9. But it's a lot different.
Yeah.
For $50,000, I'll go with 4.9.
Okay. I do want to say that, were you done, Ms. Phillips? I do want to say that I'm really counting on the citizens of Pekin, and that is to help our city grow, to bring the revenue in the right way. We are already starting to do that. I realize that it is going to take a while to see this, but this is one thing that I said, we have to bring revenue in the right way. And this, I am banking on our city growing with bringing new businesses in town. Even the young lady that spoke earlier today on her business downtown, how they came in to Marshall's because it was new here in the city of Pekin. And what else did they know was going on in Pekin? What else could they go to? And they found her store. This is what we want. We want more and more and more to grow our city. That is why I am banking on things. I am hoping, praying that we are moving the city in the right direction. I know we are. It just might take us a little longer. I also stated that it's kind of sad that we have to pass this levy now, here in December, and turn around and wait and to pass a full budget at the end of April. So, yes.
Mayor, we gave a number of 50,000 for the context for the city's budget. I think council usually also appreciates the context for the individual homeowner. So the amendment from 4.9 to 4 for a homeowner of about $250,000 in value. It's about a $7 decrease for the city's
Okay.
levy on an annual basis.
Okay.
It's about a $2.50 decrease for an annual payment for the library portion. So
Okay.
again, the library board did recommend that, and we're talking about $2.50 for that homeowner. So I just wanted to give you that
I
context as
appreciate
well.
that. Thank you, Mr. Ray. Anyway, I will stop on my soapbox now. Pardon me? Oh, Mr. Dabrowski.
And prior to any vote, I can give updated figures based on a 4.0 or
Okay.
whatever the case may be,
Okay.
for the record.
So right now, we have on the floor for an amendment to take it to 4%. And that was made by Mr. Fletcher and seconded by Mr. Nutter. Are you good, Madam Clerk, with that?
And to clarify, this is for the library also.
Correct.
So it's for both, 4.0 for the city, 4.0 for the library.
Correct.
Okay.
So if we vote yes, this means it's taking both of them to a 4%. A no is not to.
Correct.
Okay.
A no is more negotiation.
Correct. Council, take your vote, please.
Nicely clarified,
Yes.
Mr. Fletcher.
Good job. Not sure where we are.
Motion passes 4-3.
To amend.
To amend, correct. Now, any other discussion that is needed? Okay. So now we are voting to take both the city and the library to 4%. Correct?
So the motion that's on the table.
That is correct.
After Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Nutter, and you've recognized it, that passed 4-3 is.
Correct.
104%. For both levies. I just want to make sure.
That is correct.
Both levies, right.
I think we all have that, right? All right. Council, take your vote, please. I think. There we go.
This is 4.0 or 4.9?
4.0.
4.0.
We already voted, but it's 4.0, correct,
Okay,
for both.
correct.
Motion passes 5-2. For 4%. Pardon me?
Madam Chair, would you mind if the Chief Financial Officer read the numbers into the record?
Help yourself.
All right. So the amount levied for for tax year 2025, general corporate fund, amount levied $5,260,024. For the Pekin Public Library, $1,388,672. And for the Pekin Public Library bond, $405,725, for a total of $7,054,421. And Nicole, I can get this information for you.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. Are you good, Madam Clerk? Okay, thank you. Chair would now entertain a motion for new business 9.1, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance number 4366-2526, approving an agreement for the purchase and sale of real property with Jack Steger for approximately .7 acres of city-owned property.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Phillips and second by Ms. Homeheimer. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. Jack Steger owns 3 vacant lots on the west end of Winged Foot Drive. He has inquired about purchasing some of the city-owned property to the south of those lots, which was part of the Ludekin property acquisition, so he can enlarge the property and build 2 large houses with amenities such as pools. While staff generally does not recommend starting to make small sales of the Ludekin property, this situation is unique in that this particular portion of the property will be very difficult to develop into 2 or 3 homes because the space between the current lots and the pond is not very wide and would likely not support a street and residential lots unless they were very small lots. Therefore, staff does see this as maximizing the use of this particular stretch of property. A map showing the rough area to be sold is attached as Exhibit A to the agreement. And in summary, the terms state that Mr. Steger will purchase at $15,000 per acre. The exact cost will be determined after a plat of subdivision is approved and the parcel to be sold is actually created. We are estimating about .70 acres for a $10,500 sale. Mr. Steger will reimburse the city for the cost of survey, title, and legal fees. The agreement calls for the closing by June 8th of 2026, which will give the city plenty of time to record the subdivision and take any necessary steps with the Morton Community Bank to remove this piece of property from the loan for the Ludekin property. Staff is recommending approval of this ordinance. And Mr. Ray is available for any other questions.
Does council have any questions for Mr. Dossi or Mr. Ray?
Just one.
Mr. Nutter.
Just want to thank Jack Steger for doing the reimbursement for the survey, the title, and the legal fees.
Correct.
Because there's another property coming up next that doesn't have that in there. So Jack, I don't know if you're in the audience, but thank you very much.
I don't believe he is. Okay, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. I kind of think this was doing a favor for both us and him. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.2, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4367-25/26 approving an agreement for the purchase and sale of real property with Mark and Abigail Kemper for approximately 5.18 acres of city-owned property be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Ms. Phillips. Mr. Dossi?
Thank you, Mayor. The city owns a 5-acre piece of vacant unincorporated property along Zion Oaks Road near the future interchange at I-474. Staff was approached by Mr. Kemper about purchasing that property, build a new home. Staff ensured he was informed of the future development plans for that area. Mr. Kemper is still interested in this property. Staff confirmed with our engineering consultants that this property is not needed at all for the Veterans Drive Extension Project, so there is no particular reason to keep it. Summary of the terms are a sale price of $72,000. The city is paying for the survey and title. Purchaser gets 60-day due diligence period. The property is currently unincorporated Tazewell County. They cannot annex to another municipality, and they must allow the city of Pekin to annex the parcels upon our adjacency in the future. Upon annexation to the city of Pekin, the city will not require them to immediately connect to public sewer as required by Section 3-2-2-5C of City Code. They must connect in the future rather than replace any private sewage disposal system on the property. They do acknowledge the nearby property is planned for an interchange with I-474, and they agree not to object to any future development in the vicinity, including annexation, zoning, road plans, or utility extension. Staff is recommending approval of this ordinance, and Mr. Ray would be available for any further questions.
Mayor, I just want to add real quick, my write-up had a small typo. We are actually splitting the cost of title for what it's worth. It's
Oh,
a few $100s, but
thank you. Thank you, I appreciate that. Any questions or comments from the council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.3, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4368-25/26 and annexing certain real property known as the Ludekin property in Groveland Township, Tazewell County, to the city of Pekin.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi?
Thank you, Mayor. The majority of the Ludekin property is not yet annexed to the city of Pekin. As the owner of the land with no inhabitants, the city may pass a simple ordinance annexing the property. Special note that Tazewell County property tax records indicate certain parcels included in this ordinance are already annexed to the city. However, the city cannot find record of the annexation, so we are affirming the annexation to the city with this ordinance. Further note, this ordinance excludes one parcel of the Ludekin property at 3501 Sheridan Road. That parcel is currently inhabited by a renter, so it must be annexed via annexation petition and public hearing, which staff plans to do concurrent with the zoning hearings for the other parcels. Upon annexation, staff will prepare zoning petitions to be considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals to recommend a zoning classification for each parcel. Staff is recommending approval of this ordinance.
Council. Oh, Mr. Fletcher.
Is this the property the gentleman spoke about that wanted more information?
Yes.
That's the supervisor of Groveland.
Is there a reason not to lay this over to allow him to get what information he wanted.
I think Mr. Dossi did say that, or Mr. Ray, did you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, there's no particular deadline we're trying to meet with this. We are trying to move it along. We do have some obligations for the property under contract to the north. That said, you know, I spoke to the township supervisor, Groveland Township Supervisor, several days ago, and, you know, offered to go to any of the township meetings, offered to have any kind of those meetings. I know the mayor has committed to wanting to work more closely with all of the taxing bodies in the area.
I did.
Regarding just the city's general business, including this. I would say there's not a particular reason to lay it over. All we're doing is annexing. There's nothing here about site plans, any development plans, any zoning districts, anything of that nature. We own property that's vacant and we're annexing it to the city. You know, I will say, one of the concerns that he had given to me that I spoke to him over the phone about is that if we annex it to the city, is it no longer in Groveland Township? And that is not correct.
That is right.
I mean,
That's
right now, we are standing in City of Pekin, Pekin Township, Tazewell County, State of, you know, there's layers of government, and this will remain in Groveland Township. Any concern about lost revenue, I did give all the council members a handout about, you know, theoretically, there is quote-unquote some lost revenue because the city purchased the property, and as a public entity, we don't pay taxes, or property taxes. So, you know, in that vein, I think it's about $145 per year the township is no longer going to collect if they don't levy for it. Again, they can set a levy just like you all just did.
Yeah.
But again, annexation is not related to that at all. It's just because we're a public entity. So it will remain in Groveland Township. We will certainly, you know, as things progress, have conversations with everybody, including the water district and everybody else, but there's nothing really happening now except annexation. So if you'd like to lay it over, that's fine. I just don't really think there's reason to
There's no
personally.
reason to, okay. Well, I do want people to, oh,
So my issue is that somebody came forward and asked, and there's no deadline here. Transparency, isn't that one of the things we're all, this big thing that we just went through with planning? To me, you get everybody their answers and then we vote on it. That's my own opinion.
well, I do want everyone to know that the city of Pekin, there's 4 different townships within the city of Pekin. There's Pekin Township, Cincinnati Township, Elm Grove Township, and Groveland Township. So I do have to say I was a little disappointed that I personally heard from some of the trustees that, you know, it wasn't going to be in Groveland Township anymore. And I guess I'm just like, that's just not true. It's simply not true.
So they need more information.
I filled them in on it.
They're asking for more information.
Factual information,
So,
because it sounds to me like there's a lot of rumors.
Well, and that's what I
hearsay
did tell this gentleman that came forward to me, is that, you know, no, I don't know where you're hearing that, but it is still going to be Groveland Township. Yeah. Ms. Phillips?
Mr. Fletcher, I agree with you that when people say they want a chance to talk to us about it, we should take that opportunity. In this case, I can't imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, what we would do differently with doing the annexation or not doing the annexation based on those discussions. So I believe that we should just move forward this. We're going to be kicking the can off into next year if we don't do it tonight. And I don't really believe that any of those things that they need addressed are something that would change what we adopt or don't adopt.
well, he said he only had less than a week. I hate to do anything with somebody asking for more information, but that's my own opinion.
Anyone else from council?
I'll make a motion to lay this over until
Second.
they have a meeting to get their questions answered.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Mr. Vasselli?
There is a motion, a second.
Oh, okay.
It's recognized, it's not debatable, so.
So we have a motion on the floor.
The date. It's the 12th of January.
Next meeting?
For the next meeting.
Just until they have a meeting, I don't know when they're gonna have their meeting, so I don't know where to set a date at.
We could pick it to the 12th, and then we could do it again, but we can't. Tabling it indefinitely is a different thing than tabling it for a date certain.
Okay, then I'll lay it over until the next regular scheduled council meeting.
Sure, so that would be the 12th? 12th.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to table this until January 12th of '26 by Mr. Hilst and second by Mr. Fletcher. Council, take your vote.
Seconded by
correct?
Mr. Nutter.
No, it was
Okay.
Fletcher, correct. Council, take your vote. This is to table it. Par- I think. Motion fails, 3-4. So it's back on to annex, to annex Ludigan property, Groveland Township, to the city of Pekin.
Comment?
Correct?
Yes, you're
All right.
correct.
Council, take your vote,
No,
please.
I got a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Since this last one failed, I still think there needs to be a meeting with those people, set up the meeting, get their answers, get the facts straight, regardless, like,
Well, I,
Yeah, the,
gotta have it.
Yeah, and just
I think
for the
staff
record,
will-
Josh and I both made a phone call to one of the trustees who was here tonight, and we never got a phone call back. That was last week. So we have been doing this, and we're willing to go to their meeting. We're willing to have these conversations. I think a lot of this is driven by, there's a data center out there, and I think there's so much misinformation that's floating around right now. We're nowhere near, we have an option agreement in place, but we're far away from any stuff, any information. We actually had a conversation tonight with their attorney, and we're a ways away before there's any decisions to be made. And we just don't have any information to share yet to answer questions that a lot of people are throwing out there. And until we have those, that's a moot point. But we could certainly talk about the road and everything else. But again, we're still looking for answers on our own.
But that's an answer.
Right.
We don't have the answer to your question.
Right, and that's where we're at. I think a lot of people think this is a lot further along than it is right now.
And also, as a matter of record, I tried to call back one of the trustees. His mailbox is full, so he can't leave a message. So that's another aspect that goes on, so.
Yeah,
It's
Mr.
a
Nutter,
two-way
nice.
conversation.
And I did have the opportunity to speak to one of the trustees, and I think he understands. So, like I said, I just get a little disappointed with rumors that are flying around out there instead of the facts, nothing but the facts. Pardon me? Yes, indeed. So now we have to, did we vote on that second one? Yeah, yeah. Are we ready? Council, take your vote, please. We get so much discussion going, I forget where we are. Motion passes 5-2. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.4, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that ordinance number 4369-25/26, amending Chapter 5, creating Division 18, and amending Chapter 6 of the Pekin City Code, prohibiting the possession, sale, delivery, or distribution of kratom or synthetic alternate drugs be adopted.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Hilst and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm aware of a couple emails that have been sent to council. I do have Megan Hanley here from the Health Department, available to answer some questions and present some factual information to help with that. I will state that the one email that I believe all council has received, I believe it's from a doctor or a healthcare professional of some type, has sent this to every municipality who has brought an ordinance of this type up. I did speak with Councilman Fletcher earlier today with some concerns, and I think we can hopefully put some things to rest on that. But at the previous council meeting, Lori Shop provided an overview of the growing public health concerns associated with kratom and other synthetic alternative drugs. These substances have been increasingly linked to severe health effects and fatalities within Tazewell County. According to the Tazewell County Health Department, drug-related deaths have risen more than 50% over the past 5 years with synthetic and non-traditional substances, including kratom, contributing to this trend. Local emergency departments have also reported an increase in calls involving adverse reactions to unregulated herbal or synthetic products, underscoring the need for this proactive intervention. Prior to this presentation, city staff had already identified the need to regulate the sale and availability of these projects. That assessment was reinforced as neighboring communities began adopting restrictions or outright bans on kratom and similar synthetic substances to address the escalating health risks. Presented to the council this evening is a proposed ordinance prepared by the city's legal team that prohibits the possession and sale of kratom and a range of synthetic alternative drugs. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance to help safeguard public health, reduce preventable emergency responses, and ensure a consistent regional approach to mitigating these emerging risks. This ordinance is not intended to have an impact on legal dispensaries and infusers who are licensed and regulated by the state of Illinois. I do want to add that in the conversation today is the kratom is used by some people because as a replacement to the opioid or it helps them with things. I would just counter, since I've come here, addiction has been a battle this town that Pekin has been up against since I came here as chief of police in 2015, and it continues today. I think this is an opportunity for us to get ahead of the situation that's currently at hand. And while kratom is unregulated and deemed as something legal to possess or have, I think we do have a responsibility to address this. And I think Ms. Hanley can speak to this, or Chief Rainey. I would counter that cannabis, a lot of people said that for a long time, and it was probably every municipality, including the state of Illinois, banned it, or it was illegal. It was registered as a scheduled drug. I believe it still is today. But at some point in time, as we legalized it, we regulated it. But it's still illegal to possess it unless it's carried in a certain way or done. So I understand that there may be some medical benefit to that. People said the same thing about cannabis until it got regulated, but it's still a law that's illegal to possess unless it's in a correct form that's regulated by the state or through the dispensaries. And, you still have the illegal version of it that's the homegrown or whatever that gets sold out there that's not allowed. So just something to consider on it. But I think Ms. Hanley is going to be able to speak to some of the factual statistics and things that were alerted to this. And we do know that a few years back, I believe 2018, we were the town who had the synthetic cannabis deaths that sparked a big urgency and concern all over the state based on cases we were doing and that we were tied to. And it's grown. And we had a whole list. This list that you see that we provided to you, we already had listed in our ordinance. We just added a few of the derivatives that are out there that are the synthetics to this to update it. And what was in, I think, Morton's was clearly obtained through our ordinance, that they created that list. It was identical to what we had. So it was already in existence, but we just updated it. So I just think it's important the council understands all of that. And Mr. Rainey also, or Chief Rainey, can speak as well on this, and Ms. Hanley.
Okay, Ms. Hanley, welcome.
Hello. Last time I was at a council meeting, I was in third grade giving the pledge, so.
So you understand why we do what we do.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
thank
Yes.
you.
So just to highlight a little bit of the mortality statistics that Mr. Dossi already spoke to. This was originally identified in 2023, so I'll just preface, the data that we get at the health department related to deaths is always delayed. So 2023 is finalized and we're at the end of 2025. But I do have preliminary data. So in 2023, we identified there were 6 overdose deaths in Tazewell County that involved some form of kratom. That accounts to about 18% of our overdose deaths in Tazewell County. Over half of those were in the city of Pekin context. So at that time, I kind of did some digging. The coroner reached out to me. He was not, the toxicology lab actually called him and was like, this is a substance that is new. We're not really seeing it anywhere. And so ahead of the meeting, I provided you guys with a literature review if you're really into the science of it. Basically, it binds to an opioid receptor in the brain. It has been documented in numerous studies that have been cited in the Journal of Addiction Medicine that it does cause dependence in folks to some degree. Obviously, that's related to the amount that is consumed, the frequency that it's consumed, and so on. It is also documented in the literature that it responds to naloxone or Narcan. So basically Narcan, the opioid's there, and it kicks the opioid off the receptor to reverse an overdose. In 2024, 10% of our overdose deaths were related to kratom. In 2025 through August, I haven't quite gotten preliminary data past that, over about 25% of our overdose deaths were related to kratom in the county. The important thing about the deaths in 2025, there were no other substances at all, no prescription drugs or anything in the toxicology. The only substance in the toxicology was kratom. So that's concerning. I think some of the emails you may have received cited that, basically kind of contradicted that, but that's something that we're seeing. Additionally, when you look at Tazewell County compared to the entire state of Illinois, we're a little behind the 8 ball. The rest of the state saw peaks in kratom-related overdose deaths in 2018, and we hit that peak in 2023. So that's kind of the mortality side of it. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Hanley?
The other piece of data that I do have, we have a coalition in the county that folks from the city are a part of, that basically, as a whole, we're trying to prevent preventable deaths in the county. So it's a lot of first responders, a lot of law enforcement folks, a lot of our schools are involved in that. And so this past fall, we've decided to do an environmental scan of our communities, basically looking around and seeing what substances are around, what are available. And so a lot of our school resource officers and sheriffs have gone out in pairs to do these. And so I have a little bit of data from that. And I want to thank the City of Pekin Police Department for participating in that. The data and the pictures, it's kind of disturbing, actually, what's available. So they looked at 6 gas stations and/or smoke shops in Pekin. 100% of them had either kratom extracts or synthetic analogs of kratom, which if you look at the news, it says 7-OH is kind of what that's called. So you have the natural leaf kratom, which is what the folks who were emailing you were referring to. And then there's extracts of those, and then there's completely synthetic lab-made versions of them. So natural leaf kratom is kind of over here. It's really hard to find it. And then you have the extracts and then the synthetics. So, yeah. The products that they found in the Pekin establishments, none of them were natural leaf products. They are either kratom extracts or synthetic analogs. 2 of these establishments were within 1,000 feet of our schools. One of the things the officers found was deceptive marketing, flavors, bright colors. A lot of these products are in chewables. They're gummies, they're infused beverages, and they're located at checkouts or above beverage coolers, so you can grab your Mountain Dew and grab something else. The other thing I will mention is Tazewell County has an incredibly high failure rate in our underage alcohol compliance checks. So 2 out of 3 establishments in the county will incorrectly sell alcohol to a minor. And that's data from last year. So something to consider is if we aren't carding individuals correctly for underage alcohol and the purchase of that, when you add in some of these other substances, that's another concern. Yes, any questions from any of that? Or Chief, if I missed anything?
Chief Randy, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I think Megan covered most of it, and I don't want to belabor the point, but just, I think most of you obviously are from Pekin, and you know the thing that we're up against with addiction. And so it's just one of those where if everybody followed the rules and followed the laws and no one under 21 years old would able to get their hands on this, it's a whole nother ballgame, but that's not the reality that we work in. And so I'm sure that you would all agree that one death is too many, especially with our younger population. And we don't need anything else in our society that creates addiction. And so that's where it's at. The literature that was provided to council, on the uses, I understand where they're coming from, but it's one of those where I firmly believe that if someone is dealing with issues, mental, physical, whatever the situation is there's other opportunities available to them to seek medication that's regulated, and in my opinion, is less likely. Anytime somebody self-medicates, it's very concerning, and so the likelihood to create or perpetuate addiction increases. And so by passing this ordinance, I believe we're taking a step in making sure that especially our young people under 21 are unable to get their hands on this in the city.
Thank you. Thank you again. Any questions or comments from council? Mr. Hilst?
Just one real quick one. So I think I read in here where it said that this would take effect 10 days after the passage of this. Do we have any kind of plan in place on how we're going to, are we just going out to all these individual establishments and telling them to take them off the shelves?
Yes, that is correct. If this gets passed tonight, we'll create a letter first thing in the morning. Most of it's already done just in preparation if it is passed. And we will hand deliver those and make sure that everyone's on the same page. We want compliance, so we understand that it'll be something new, and we'll work with the companies.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. That's all I have.
Any other council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.5, please.
Madam Mayor, make a motion that ordinance number 4370-25/26, approving a settlement agreement for and the acquisition of real property at 822 Catherine Street be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hilst and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dossi?
Thank you, Mayor. On July 11th, 2024, fire occurred at the vacant residence located at 822 Catherine Street. Following the incident, the city's chief building official, with assistance from the city engineer, determined the structure was a total loss that posed an imminent risk of collapse. Due to the public safety hazard, and emergency demolition was ordered, and JIMAX was contracted to demolish the structure on July 11th and 12th of 2024. The city paid the demolition costs of $19,184.67 at that time. Subsequently, the city issued 2 citations to the then owner, Redeed LLC, regarding remaining accessory structures that were not removed during the emergency demolition. These were filed as case numbers C-5443-003364, dated July 24th of 2024, and C-5443-003365, dated August 7th, 2024. Redeed LLC later transferred the property to KNUJ Corporation by deed recorded on November 8th, 2024. On January 23rd, 2025, default judgments were entered against Redeed LLC in both citation cases in the amounts of $43,000, $750 plus court costs, and $500 plus court costs on the other ticket as well. On January 27, 2025, the city recorded a lien in the amount of $19,532.67 for the demolition-related expenses incurred on July 11, 2024, and September 6, 2024. On March 17th of 25, Redeed filed appeals of the 2 default judgments in the Circuit Court of Tazewell County, where the matters were pending on cases 2025 MR32 and 2025 MR33. There was a settlement agreement obtained, and the summary of that proposed settlement agreement is to resolve all disputes relating to the premises. The city Redeed LLC and KNUJ Corporation have agreed to the following terms. All recitals detailing the demolition, enforcement action, judgments, liens, and pending litigation are incorporated into the agreement. Conveyance of the real estate shall convey, they're going to convey that premises to the city via a quick claim deed, and we are going to release the judgments and liens on Redeed and KNUJ Corporation. They shall pay the minimum fees and court costs, $250 for case number ending in 3364, and $250 for case number ending in 3365. In exchange, the city will file satisfactions and releases of the judgments and any liens related to these cases. They are going to dismiss the trial court actions regarding to 2025 MR 32 and 2025 MR 33 with prejudice, meaning they can't bring it back. Escrow of settlement documents, the quick claim deed, payment of citations, and signed agreed order of dismissal will be delivered to the city in escrow contingent upon completion of the citations payment. Upon confirmation, the city will record the deed and submit the agreed order for entry within 7 days. There is a mutual release upon execution and performance of the agreement obligations. Each party releases and holds harmless the other party and their respective representatives from any and all claims, known or unknown, related to the premises, including fines, demolition costs, or any other alleged claims. There is one request. City staff requests that the city council approve this settlement agreement between the City of Pekin, Redeed LLC, and KNUJ Corporation, authorize acceptance of the quick claim deed, and direct the city to record and release judgments and liens in accordance with this agreement. This approval will resolve outstanding citations, lien claims, pending litigation, and will transfer the premises to the city.
Any questions from council?
I got a couple.
Mr. Hilst?
First of all, is there any structures left on this property, or is it just an empty lot?
It's an empty lot.
Okay, and if this gets approved, are we gonna put a notice out to sell that property, or what are we planning on doing with it?
Yeah, we would pursue opportunity for sale and development of the property or redevelopment of the property. There are a couple others that council approved, in a similar sense, where there was a demo and we've sold it to a residential developer, and he's working on those. There's a few others that are candidates for that. I've had some conversations with some of the other contractors or some other folks that are interested in doing some residential work in town, so we'll follow the council's residential disposition policy and try to get it back on the tax rolls.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Any other council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.6, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 367-25/26, approving a fuel value study with Schooley Mitchell for the purchase of diesel and gasoline for the city be approved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Once again, Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm actually going to have Simon, and I believe there's a representative here from Schooley Mitchell. They could speak to this a little bit, but I'm going to let Simon go ahead because they worked on this.
Okay. Mr. Grimm.
Madam Mayor, so this resolution allows the city manager to approve the attached Schooley Mitchell Fuel Value Report and subsequently enter into a contract with Lozier Oil of Farmington, Illinois. So as we briefed earlier, the previous iteration with Schooley Mitchell, they went out, contacted multiple vendors and have completed their value report, which is attached in the packet. The bluff on it is with Lozier Oil, we're seeing an estimated reduction of $36,000 total for fuel in the year. And just a reminder of the cost, or the service fee rather, Schooley Mitchell will receive half of that savings for 3 years of this agreement with Schooley Mitchell. And then just want a really quick walkthrough. So it's a year to year because the vendor would not do a 5-year locked-in fuel price. And the majority of the savings that we realize really are in delivery fees, the reduction in that, diesel fuel additive, et cetera. So this initial contract, they did agree to do a total 15 months, which will allow us to get through this fiscal year and then all of next fiscal year. So that gives us one solid point to start planning our budget for FY '27, giving each department the ability to say, I know what my unit cost will be for fuel, and be able to plan that way. So we reviewed the packet, we are recommending approval, but any questions you have for me or Mr. Hitchcock from Schooley Mitchell?
Any questions from council? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 9.7, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 368-25/26, approving the hiring of a temporary administrative assistant for the bus department, be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. As a result of a recent non-union administrative resignation in the bus department, it has determined that the best way to maintain service levels to the community through the end of this contract with the schools is to backfill the duties with a temporary staffing solution. This resolution authorizes the hiring of a temporary administrative assistant for the bus department to provide payroll data entry and general clerical support. Candidates have been identified through 2 staffing agencies with an anticipated hourly pay range of $20 to $22 per hour. Trillium Staffing's hourly bill rate is calculated at 1.65 times the direct labor rate, while Absolute Staffing's bill rate is $29 for a $20 hourly pay rate. The temporary assignment may extend through June 2026 if necessary. This position may be terminated at any time and does not include benefits such as health insurance, retirement, or paid time off. Utilizing a staffing agency provides the city with operational flexibility and minimizes long-term commitments. The city is currently considering applicants from the 2 agencies and will make a final selection following the interview process. Both master service agreements are attached for review. Staff is recommending approval of this resolution.
Any questions from council? Yeah, it's temporary. Oh, which one first? Mr. Fletcher.
Yes, so when this particular employee was on vacation, who covered that? Somebody covered it.
Yeah, Shelley, do you, I think the office staff, they
Okay.
just try to fill in where they can, but keep in mind, a lot of that office staff is out driving the routes.
So all I'm saying is we have 30 weeks or so left to get out of this bus deal. There's not any resources in the city that can go data entry for a couple hours a day or whatever it takes for this job, I guess is what I'm asking. We're
Are
going to
you
be going
asking
into a budget here pretty soon, and we're,
If you're asking, is there other department
Yeah.
that can send people down there? A lot of your departments are at their minimums right now, full, and they're wearing multiple hats. So for me to send somebody down from accounting when we're trying to keep the audits and everything up, there's nobody from finance that I can do that. They basically do the payroll for the entire city when it gets submitted. This is basically doing that department's payroll while the director has actually been out driving the buses and things. So, we brought in First Student to try to alleviate some of that as bus drivers are off or are sick or, not available to drive. So that's some of the battle we've been having.
And I'll just add that the main job duties for this position is data entering the payroll and auditing the payroll for final approval from the department head. Yeah, it's 120 employees, and they're saying it's pretty much a full-time job.
Any other from council?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter.
So you mean to tell me that we have how many administrative assistants in this city, 3, 4, whatever, that we don't have time to do data entry for the payroll system, which is what, every 2 weeks? Is that when the data goes in, every 2 weeks?
I can answer that. They do it weekly, so they keep up on it per
Okay.
week, so
So
they're
how
not
many
doing it all
hours-
at the last
How many
minute.
hours a week does it take to do the data entry? I'm trying to understand why we're doing it, and John, I understand your comment, but I'm just gonna throw a couple ideas out here. Can the administrative assistant at the fire department do it? Can the administrative assistant in the police department do any of it? Do they currently do payroll? That wouldn't be an added function to them? Yes, it's all gonna add up, but do you give them overtime to handle it, to offset? Because you're gonna bring somebody in, who's gonna train this person? I keep hearing that staff's all at the bus department's full, so who's gonna train them if the person's left? Along with that, another aspect of this is the fact that you're already interviewing people from 2 temp agencies, is that correct?
Nope, interviews are scheduled for Wednesday. If it doesn't pass, we'll cancel them. We've scheduled 2
so-
interviews.
My point is, why are you interviewing them from 2 agencies? How were those 2 agencies picked? Where did that come from?
Sure.
And one of these agreements in here, this master service agreement for one of these, holy cow, there's hardly anything in there. I just
I can-
challenge that we could do something different, but that's me.
To answer your question, I called 4 local agencies, and they're the 2 that called me back. And, yep, it's a temporary assignment. It can be ended for no reason at all. And so those were the 2 that we went with, that they provide candidates, so,
So basically, we didn't go out for an RFP or RFQ.
no.
That's interesting.
I don't think we have the time. I mean, if they need to enter, get payroll
Nobody
entered,
seems
so.
to have the time. It makes it easy. I'm sorry, we pass ordinances, we pass procurement policies, we do this, and every time we get in a bind, I'm sorry, it's hurry up. Okay, I just disagree with that. Advanced planning, yes, somebody quit on the spur of the moment, okay. But to go the way it's handled, I totally disagree.
Okay, well, the priority is to make sure we get the payroll process for these employees, so however we do that.
I do just want to say that I don't know about all departments, but I know that many departments are kind of stretched thin. There was a young lady from Children's Advocacy Center that actually came and, I'm going to say, maybe job shadowed. I'm not quite sure what they would call them, but through our social worker, Misty, and as her supervisor and herself, admitted that there needed to be 3 of Misty. She does an outstanding job and extremely stretched thin. So, like I said, I don't know all departments, but I think that people that are ahead of them, like our police chief, is doing the best that he can with the staff that he has. Yes.
Maybe one thing we need to look at in the future is maybe not job shadowing so much, but maybe getting a hold of ICC or maybe even the high school and having some of these kids sit down at a computer and enter in 8 hours, 8 hours, 7 hours. I mean, it's data entry. That's what it is.
I mean,
The computer program does payroll.
Yeah, yeah. She was so impressed, but just saw what a hard worker Misty Cave is.
And Councilman Fletcher, I think that's a great idea for a job that would continue on. We're talking about something that has a very, defined end date. And we would have to, because it would be a scheduled 1,000-hour type of job, which means we'd have to offer a pension, and full-time, healthcare, et cetera. And that's some of the stuff that with the temp, agreement, you get to avoid all that stuff when it is a definitively ending job. And those are also very hard to hire for when, you have to tell them at the same time that the job's going to go away in 7 months.
Right, that's why I kind of asked my first question of who did it when they were on vacation. So it got
Right.
done.
Right, it did, and the thing is, honestly, it got done for the week that they were on vacation, so everybody sort of does their double duty for that week.
Okay.
Asking the folks to do double duty for the 7 months, and the other thing too, and Shelley did, and I think John alluded to it as well, is that we're already really tight on bus drivers. So like, the ideal staffing model is we actually had 4, 5 people that were in the office doing the stuff on a day-to-day basis that were not driving. Now, literally, everyone else that's employed there has their CDL, is licensed to drive a bus, and there are some days when they are all driving buses. And having a non-CDL person also gives us the flexibility of somebody that's going to actually answer the phone when, hey, you missed my kid, or my kid got out there late, or I have, want to leave a compliment to the bus driver that helped save my kid. Whatever it is, this is somebody who is assuredly going to be there, that's not going to get drawn out and drive a bus.
Ms. Hoheimer.
I can say that when I was 19, I worked for a staffing company, and I had a lot of secretarial skills when I was in high school, I learned. So working for a temp agency, I was sent out on jobs that were secretarial. So they're not going to send a truck driver over to do data entry. It's going to be somebody who already knows how to do data entry, and I don't think that training is going to be a huge problem. I think that's going to be something in their wheelhouse already. So I'm absolutely 100% for it. I think calling a staffing agency is absolutely the best idea. Quick.
Any other? Ms. Phillips.
So I'm trying to do some math in my head. Correct me if I'm wrong. If we've got 120 employees, and let's say it takes 15 minutes a week to enter in that employee's timesheet for the week. So that means we can get 4 of those done an hour. So it takes 30 hours at 15 minutes. Maybe it only takes 10 minutes. But we're still not talking, people think data entry is quick. Data entry is tedious. It takes a long time, but it doesn't require necessarily a lot of flexibility. So just the numbers I heard tonight, when Shelley said that this is basically being a full-time job, with the 15 minutes also including verifying their time cards against something else, I think that's a reasonable expectation on how long it would take to do that each week.
And this is temporary. Get the job done, and we're out of the bus business. Any other questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 4-3. Chair would entertain a motion for 9.8, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 369-25/26, approving a city Pekin logo, be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Mr. Dossi.
Mayor, the logo's back. I'll leave it at that. If Josh has any more he wants to add to it, I know we had tabled it, they brought it back, and this is just for formal approval.
Okay. Mr. Ray.
Nothing to add, I just appreciate McDaniel's kind of cranking this out pretty quickly.
Any questions from council?
I'd just like to thank everybody. I think this is a really great new design compared to what we had before. I appreciate that we went back and revisited it.
Do you happen to have the logo that you can put up on the screen for the scouts that are here? No? Oh, I just.
Is it?
Mm-mm.
This one or this
That-
one?
It's that one, that one. I just
There
thought
you
the
go.
scouts might want to see it. All right. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-1. We are now down to unfinished other businesses. Any business to come before the council, Mr. Dossi?
Thank you,
And
Mayor.
I'd like to
Let
turn
me-
the heat up in here.
Let me get to my notes here. Just a reminder to the public, there's a town hall tomorrow night, 6 PM here at City Hall. The topic is going to be code enforcement. It will be televised. Reminder that on Wednesday, December 17th, there will be a TIF town hall or Q&A. Mayor and Councilwoman Phillips requested that. December 17th is a ribbon cutting for the 8th Street Cafe. For council, December 19th is the holiday staff party, if you'd like to come. City Hall is closed on Wednesday and Thursday, December 24th and 25th, in observance of the holiday. City Hall will be closed on Thursday, January 1st of '26. And Simon does, I think, passed out to council some information regarding the road plan, and I'm going to let him go ahead and speak on that a little bit.
Thank you.
And
Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Grant?
council members, so this is the placemat that was set up on your desk labeled Pekin Road Plan Overview 2025 through 2030. Just real quick, want to run through this. This is a bit of a primer for you right now. There's a lot more detail involved in this, and Justin and I are looking to start scheduling one-on-one or two-by-twos with each of you to sit down and go through the plan in detail and get any feedback that you may have. But if we quickly roll through, if you look at the top left box, and just kind of setting the stage. So again, this is based off of the Pavement Condition Index, or PCI rating, for all the roads within Pekin. Our overall current PCI rating is 57 out of 100, so that falls within the fair category across the board. We ran 3 scenarios through the Decision Optimization Technology system. The first one is 1.4 million per year, which is the MFT allotment that we get. So that one was a fund-constrained scenario to see how far we could get with that. The second is what would it cost, or how do we get to a PCI of 65 within 5 years? And the third was how do we get to a PCI of 70 within 5 years, and then a follow-on, a full 10-year plan, so you kind of get an idea of what maintenance looks like for that. Kind of the bullet points on each of those. So for the MFT only, the 1.4 million, you get a total cost of 6.9 over 5 years. This does see an initial increase in PCI about halfway through, but then it starts to degrade again. So 1.4 is not necessarily enough to get us a continuing increase in PCI. This course of action is also heavy on the preventative maintenance side. So this would be more along the lines of seal coat, a lot of roads up front, and then a little bit more mill and overlay on the back side. For the target of PCI 65 in 5 years, the cost increases, so we're now about $4.2 million per year. This will be a total cost of $21.3 million. This one does have an increase in minor and major, so a little bit more in-depth rehabilitation for the roads. And then for the target of 70 in 5 years, this is at a $5.4 million per year, a total cost of 28.6 in 5 and 54.2 for the total 10. This is going to be a lot heavier with more mill and overlays and foundational type repair. And then if you kick over to the center, that's kind of a quick overview of the $1.4 million plan. That map shows the status of the roads at the end, so in 2030. That middle bar graph shows the breakdown of roads by condition compared to the total of our road index. What's kind of salient there is if you see that, starting at our current year, we've got a fair amount of good, fair amount of bad, and then a lot in the middle. You see that increase, or the middle part decrease. However, your bad roads are increasing with the good roads. So it's kind of a bookend type approach that we're targeting. And then that bottom bar graph down the bottom shows which type of maintenance is going to be applied over the years. And then to the right, I've got the 65 and then the 70 years kind of outlined for your review. And then on the back, so to put a little bit of a finer point to it, so this is all the roads that would be targeted for 2026, so next year. And that's a total of 191 blocks would be affected. The majority of this is a chip seal. So it's a low-cost, high-impact, and it's able to rapidly increase our PCI in a short amount of time. And then just of note, West Shore and Second Street are currently templated to receive a mill and overlay. And then just a little bit of a note, so this is very precise in that it's not just a road, but it's individual sections of that road. And that's how it's broke down in that chart. So, for instance, Charlotte Street, we're only looking at from 8th Street to 13th Street. Because we've got that PCI data for everything, it's able to break it down into very specific sections.
Okay.
So, again, this is just to give you kind of a quick status of where we're at on this plan. No decisions or anything at this point, but wanted to brief you on this, and then we will be reaching out to each of you to schedule a little bit more in-depth brief ahead of time.
Excellent.
And then, as this applies to budget, right, the plan will not be finalized until we have a budgeted amount and we know how much we'll be able to use, but this should give you a good indicator going into the budgeting season of what you get for your dollar and where you want to spend it.
Great job. Thank you. I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing what street's going to get done first
Is that
and
not
when.
the biggest we've ever done in 1 year?
Oh, yeah.
It's gotta be.
Yeah, very nice. All right, any other staff?
No, Mayor, that's all we have. I just, to all the council and the Pekin community, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, because I'll probably be off a little bit, trying to burn off some of my vacation, so Bob and Finance don't take it away from me.
I want to say thank you to Chief Ranny for the ordinance tonight. I know it was hard work with the staff and everyone else, but thank you for doing that, to getting the kratom done.
It was really a team effort. Nick and Nicole really busted it out at the end. And
Excellent.
Our city manager and the lawyers we went back and forth trying to get this done for today. So it was by far a team effort of staff and definitely not on me.
Thank you. I love it when we can give credit where credit is due. So thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Mr. Vasselli. Nick, thank you so much.
And
Pardon
Mr.
me.
Dossi.
And
And
Mr. Dossi, yes, excuse me. Staff.
I'll be honest, I sat in support of Nick and Nicole. You could thank Nicole for being very, well, I don't want to say that word, but she was very thorough.
There
We'll
you
use
go.
that. That's a good word, yeah. And she dug out, we already had some of this in ordinance, so it made things a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
caused us to go back and make a little bit of change.
Very good. Thank you all. I am so sorry. Mr. Hilst.
I'll just echo Mr. Dossey's comments. I know it's a little bit early yet, but since we don't have any meetings left scheduled, just wish everybody happy holidays.
Mr. Nutter.
Ditto, same thing. Happy holidays. Enjoy it with family and friends.
Ms. Phillips.
Bah humbug.
You did not do that.
I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk a little bit about the 1217 TIF thingy. I asked to do this because one of my friends looked at me and said, I don't know why you voted to help somebody who built a house that expensive. And so after I explained it to her, I thought, well, I think I'd like to give this lecture to everybody. So the plan is, I think we'll start at 6. It'll be here. It'll be broadcast. It'll be on YouTube. If people want to make arrangements to be able to ask questions, submit them beforehand if you'd like. We'd be happy to do that. Definitely, I'd like to see at least 8 people show up because, they'll probably make me dress up. So after that, I just want to say that I look forward to the holidays. I hope that all of you enjoy every holiday you celebrate and come back next year with lots of bright, glowing, happy faces. Thank you.
And I do want to say this, this meeting that Ms. Phillips is wanting on TIF, it was all her idea. It's just the mayor pro tem, it was, has to, kind of run it, but then she will be taking over. So I appreciate anyone stepping up to the plate to inform our citizens. So thank you. Mr. Fletcher.
I just want to thank Eric and the staff for meeting with me multiple times for the levy, because it is a complicated thing, and I know that the citizens are going to be reaching out to me probably starting tomorrow morning early and asking me questions, so I'm prepared for that. Thanks, Nick, for your explanation on the Kratom thing, what's going to happen after the letters go out. I was concerned with that. Other than that, hope everybody has a good holiday and sharpen your pencils when you come back, because budget's coming and I don't think it's going to be easy.
You're right. Mr. Abel.
I think we've got 3 really more good reasons to shop Pekin now. The parking lots are full, which is great. But as I say, let's forget about the A word. I see people already getting their Amazon boxes on the front doors. And I think if half of those could be bought in Pekin, they can't all be saying, oh, we can't find it in Pekin. So take care of your Pekin businesses. And like I always say, and I heard it last year, I'll probably hear it again this year, 60% of every Amazon order gets sent back for whatever reason. So you're just helping UPS and FedEx make a lot of money. So take care of us Pekin business people, and hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Remember the reason for the season, and have a Happy New Year. Hope to see you back next year.
Ms. Hoheimer.
First of all, I'd like to say I had the privilege of going to Insight Mental Health ribbon cutting last Thursday, and what a welcome and much-needed resource in our community. So I am really hopeful, and I know they're going to be very successful, but I would just like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Well, I just want to say very Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy New Year. Let's make this the most prosperous new year we can all have. So with that, we're going to close this out, and Chair would entertain a motion to go into executive session that we will not be coming out and voting on.
Madam Mayor, I move that we move to executive session 5 ILCS 120/2C11, litigation when an action against affecting or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, and when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent. Be approved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Do we need a break, or can we go right into executive? Oh, we'll take a 5-minute quick, 5-minute quick, yeah, it's cold. 5-minute quick break, please. I'm gonna go get my coat.